Appreciate you guys coming back. But before we get into today's show, let's talk about YouTube membership and Patreon. If you have not one of those, please consider doing so. There are a lot of draft stuff that can't be put on the main channel. So if you want to be a part of that and be a part of the discussion and see what I have to present, especially with some of those SEC guys, join the Patreon or become a YouTube member, because a lot of the memberships that were gifted by 86 Ghosts, they're starting to end now. So I would suggest that you consider signing up to continue that membership or jump on over and be a Patreon. So with that being said, let's get into today's show. First, we want to start off with the 3 reasons Lamar Jackson the MVP. Number 1, the stats don't lie, and simply they are what they are. Lamar, 66.7% completion percentage in 2024, 4,172 yards, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Rushing wise, 915 yards and 4 more touchdowns. So the man accounted for over 5,000 yards and led his team to a 12-5 record. Number 2, his colleagues agree that he is the NFL MVP. So before we even got to NFL honors, he was picked by his colleagues from the NFLPA as the MVP, or the best player, best quarterback rather, and the AP as the best player. So a lot of times when those two associations kind of mirror each other, that person normally wins the MVP. And then 3rd, team success. Now, this is the one where people would kind of come in and saying like, well, they didn't have the best record. Josh had a better record, and whatever. But let's put some context to it. The Baltimore Ravens play in the AFC North. 3 teams over 500 in the AFC North. Ravens had 12-5 record, understandably so. AFC East, where the Bills play. 3 teams under 500. So the only team that was over 500 in the AFC East were the Bills. Ravens strength of schedule, 2nd in the NFL. To go 12-5 versus the 2nd hardest schedule in the NFL, tip of the hat, buddy. And to put up the numbers he put up. Next up, we want to tackle, should the Baltimore Ravens use all 11 of their draft picks in the 2025 draft coming up in April? So the chart you're looking at is the 2025 NFL draft capital. And it says draft capital measured by PFF draft chart value using PFF war of picks. Now, the team with the most draft capital, Cleveland Browns. And they probably get more when they trade Myles Garrett. But the Baltimore Ravens are all the way down to 18. And we have 11 picks. 11. I think the Ravens should not use all 11 picks because we don't have a lot of holes. I feel like some picks should be packaged to go up and kind of get some specific guys to get what you need and complete this roster and make this Super Bowl run in 2025. But, and this is a huge but, because we have guys that make a nice chunk of change, you have to bank on young guys playing. And this is where the conflict comes in for me. If we're going to use these picks, play these kids. Let's not use them, especially the early ones, and try to stash guys and hire people and do this and whatnot. Because I understand Lamar's cap hit is going to be big. Don't know what we're going to do with Marlon. We might have to sign a nice chunk of change to keep running. Man, BK got a big contract. Roquan got a big contract. You know, you might have to do a little finagling with Derek. So the young guys have to play. So if you're going to use all 11 of them, play the guys. But if you're not going to use all of them, package them, go get your specific needs, and let's make the Super Bowl run. Either way, make the Super Bowl run. Whether you pick all 11 of them or whether you package them and go get what you want. Super Bowl definitely needs to be the end all to, whatever you decide to do, because I don't think we're far off. I really don't. But with the way the cap is starting to go, where the team cap with Lamar's contract, Matt BK, and some guys I mentioned a while ago. The young guys got to play. And if you are a fan of the second channel as well, and I know a lot of you are not, I did a video talking about the 2022 Chiefs draft class yesterday. They hit on almost all of their picks. Almost all of them. They had a good many of them in 2022. The 2 first rounders, McDuffie and Karlaftis. They got Pacheco in the 7th round. They got a Cook in like the 3rd or 4th. They hit on a good many of those picks, and those guys are producing for them. And if those guys win the Super Bowl Sunday, they'll be 3 for 3 with NFL seasons and Super Bowls. So my question to you in the comment section, should we use all 11 picks and play the young guys? Or should we package those picks and go get what we need to complete the roster? Okay, let's get into some important dates on the NFL calendar that we all need to know. Starting with the big game, February 9th. That's the Super Bowl. I wish we were playing in it, but we're not. It is what it is. Caesar Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. February 18th. That's when you can franchise players. That's when you can say, hey, we're going to franchise player XYZ. March 4th is the deadline to franchise said player. Whichever one you pick out and see that's who you need, franchise that guy. That's March 4th is the deadline for that. But between those dates, the Combine, February the 24th through March 3rd, the Underwear Olympics as they call it, that's when you get a chance to say, hey, that's when Xavier Worthy put the world on fire last year running that 4-2, whatever it was. But the Underwear Olympics as it's called, and we all get to see the athleticism of all the players potentially coming out in the NFL. Not all, but most of the players coming out in the NFL draft. March 12th, new league year. That's when free agency starts. A couple days before that is when the tampering period can happen, when you can start negotiating. But the actual start of the new league NFL year, March 12th. April 18th is the deadline for restricted free agents to sign offer sheets. And for us, I think the only guy that affects is Ardarius Washington. If there is somebody else that affects on the Baltimore Ravens team, put it down in the comment section and let me know. But as far as I can remember, the only guy that date affects is Ardarius Washington. April 24th through 26th, the NFL draft. 3-day frenzy. First round is the first night. Second and third is the second night. And then 4th through 7th is the Saturday. You find out where the hot college guys are going, whether you agree with the pick. A lot of people, what the Ravens do, for the most part, do best player available. Some teams draft for need. Some teams draft just to stockpile talent. Whatever your team does, and for ours, mostly it's best player available, but that's the weekend where you get new toys, new shiny toys on your team, and you start to wonder how they're going to fit for the 2025 season. May 1st is the deadline for your 5th year option on your 2022 draft picks. That's the deadline to exercise the 5th year option on your 2022 draft picks. So our first round pick from the 2022 draft, that's the deadline to say, hey, we're giving you a 5th year option or we not. May 14th, one of the greatest days on the calendar, but it's also the NFL rookie premiere in Los Angeles, California, but it's also a certain player's born day. Well, not player, but person. And then we get into mid-July where the mini camps and training camps and all that stuff start. And then we back at it again. So those are your important dates for the 2025 off-season calendar. All right, let's get into the comment section a little bit. And so this comment comes from Lauren Trucker. And it's under the post where I put on the community tab asking what needs to be done about Justin Tucker. Lauren says Tucker needs to retire. I love JT, but if he stays in the NFL, this will only get worse and ruin any Hall of Fame chance he has left. I know he's innocent until proven guilty, but that's not how public opinion works. I would also say I don't understand why these guys with all this money go to these places and do all this nasty stuff. Just find you a good wife or a nasty girlfriend and make sure everything is consensual, which I agree with her wholeheartedly. And it is, I don't know where it's going to go. There was some more interesting comments under that question about like statute of limitations, so I don't know what's gonna happen. It is, I just don't know. But the reason I put this comment on here is because my reply to Lauren, where she says, just find you a good wife or a nasty girlfriend and make sure everything is consensual. My reply to Lauren was, which I think is kind of funny myself, but also true, or just find you a good nasty wife and be done with it. Let's go to our next one. All right, this next one comes from Ed, and it's under the video I have analyzing the Ravens coaching, hirings, and firings. And he says, I like how we are revamping the defensive staff. Now trim the fat from the special team staff because something has to give. The kicking game, punt game, and the return game has sucked 2 years in a row. And so if you follow the channel, you know Ed don't hold back. And what I would say from that is the rule changes, in my opinion, have stymied us. We haven't kept up with the rule changes. There were a couple returns this year where I felt like could have broke, but they weren't consistent enough. Keaton, I felt like could have broke one, but he stumbled right at the last minute. And trying to see who had that other one. Was it 18 that had it? Was it Sims that had it that almost broke? And then Stout's not consistent. Then we know what Tucker went through with his kicks this year. So I agree with Ed. Like, the special teams need to come around. Is it the coach? I'm not sure. But for us to have a head coach with a special teams background, I feel like the special teams should never be the third of your teams, if that makes sense. Yes, you should at least be even with the three teams. When I say three teams, I mean offense, defense, special teams. The special teams should never be way down here. Because in my opinion, our offense is way up here. Our defense is maybe in the middle, especially after the way we ended the season, and our special teams are down here. We at least need to all be in this range right here, in my opinion. Now, if you want a comment featured, put a comment under this video. I'll pick one or two, and the next time we have a video, I'll pull it up. Also, if you have a question you want answered, you can email me at sipthetally@gmail.com, and you can put the subject, questions for coach, and I'll answer it in video form. If I get a bunch of them, I have enough for a show, and I'll answer a bunch of them in a video format, go through all of them. But you can do that by emailing me at sipthetally@gmail.com. That's what I have for you today, man. To sum up the three things we've talked about, we talked about the reasons why Lamar Jackson should we use all 11 picks in this upcoming NFL draft, and we gave you some important events on the NFL calendar coming up. So I'm Coach Evans. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe if you've not done so. Hit that bell so you can be notified throughout the rest of this 2025 off season. And I'll see y'all soon, man. Peace and love.